Hello YouTube, I'm back and again with another video. I'm finally going to be doing my custom archetype that I haven't been doing for months, and I decided to go back on my EDP 445 archetype, or for short 445. And the reason why I'm playing this archetype because I did create some new cards that blend in with the deck, as you're about to see now. This duel is going to be a match, like 2 to 3 rounds, and before I get into the other match, I'm just going to call out the effect of Universe 445 and search for a monster that has either 1300 attack and or 1300 defense, which happens to be Street Dream Girl, if you guys are aware of. You've seen her in my early duels. She's like the key component of this deck, pretty much getting us access to almost any monster that has 1300 attack and defense, which you special summon the deck to the field, except herself. Let's fast forward. So the card we're accessing is Nightmare Schoolboy, and his effect will trigger. Since there is no counter, it will resolve, and my opponent confirms that, which I'll be able to search Eagle Eye with. So let us continue. I'm going to fast forward here. Special summon our belly, since I control a monster with 1300 attack and or defense. And I'll activate Bountiful Charity. I draw 5 cards, and I have to discard 3 cards for its effect. I draw 1 thanks to Dark Fantasy. Now link summon to for Pseudokotalker. See here. I'll use Eagle Eye's effect, special summon Nightmare Schoolboy from my hand. I'll use Eagle Eye's effect to pay 1300 life points. To add a 4/5 or 13 spell trap card from my deck to my hand. And I'll pay 4/5 life points to draw a card. I'm still thinking on the play. I'm gonna link 2 for IP. And then I'm using Nightmare Schoolboy's other effect to banish Street Dream Girl. And then she'll return to my hand during my next standby phase. And I'll summon Dasgasdom, which I already have in hand. Shuffle the 2 13 attack, and then go to 2 other monsters. And I'm going to link for Appaloosa. I'm going to let you read his effect. So only during my opponent's turn they lose a 13 attack, and then I'm going to use Universe 445's other effect. I shuffle 1 monster with 1300 attack and defense from my deck to the from my grave to the deck. I gain life equal to its attack or defense, depending whether at my choice. And I target 1 monster against 1300 attack. Not 19, my mistake. And forget Dasgasdom, like, the reason I match summon a monster from my graves because it all depends on the number of other monsters I control with 1300 attack and or defense. Set 3, and I'll pass it to my opponent. He'll play Lightning Storm. I was a bit worried because it could possibly be against my back row and depending on his hand. Honestly, he could have just done my back row and then Lava Golem my Appaloosa and Pseudokotalker. But jeez, he could have done a lot that turn. He had so many cards that he could have like managed to counter. But that was definitely a misplay on his part. It's not like he couldn't do anything. He definitely misplayed. He should have just went after my back row because I could not respond. even if he managed to destroy them, I wouldn't be able to activate their effects. So it would have been a brick, but at the same time, like, he still would have got rid of a lot of my cards. But that there was a misplay still. So I'm gonna take advantage of his misplay either way. So let's continue with the play. Oops, misclicked. I meant to retrieve Dream Girl because you're aware of Schoolboy's effect. 445 Inner Thoughts effect. As you see what's gonna happen right now. Give me a moment. I'm viewing my graveyard. I'm gonna take a monster with 1300 attack. When this card is activated, I could take one from my that has 1300 attack and defense from my grave to my hand, like you see right now. And it has another effect where I contribute one of my monsters with 1300 attack and defense. I gain 1300 life points. My opponent loses 1300 life points. So it's the difference is that it's always it's going to be 1300 regardless. So I would gain the life while my opponent loses that much life. So thanks to 4 or 5, I have 2 of them. I get to draw 2. But the restriction is I can only special summon monsters that at least have 1300 attack and or defense points. And then he'll play Infirm, sorry. And then I'll chain with Inner Thoughts. So Schoolboy's effect rolls off since it doesn't since it's left the field. So as you see right now, I gain 1300 life points. My opponent loses that much life. Really awesome effect. Like, jeez. And we're gonna do the same play, like pretty much go into Dasgasdom. And since I showed you guys his effect, you should be aware what's gonna happen next. Let's fast forward here. I'm gonna shuffle Dasgasdom from my grave to my deck, and I gain that much life points, which is 25, which happens to be his original attack. I'm gonna then use Dasgasdom, which I retrieve from my deck, to my hand, and then I'll shuffle 2 monsters with 1300 attack and or defense, and I'll special summon him. So, and I won't be able to use the other effect because it depends on the number of other monsters that have 1300 attack and defense, except him. So just to let you guys be aware, so to make his effect less abusable. So I'm calculating Applu's attack boost because of Universe 4/5's effect as well. It is permanent. And then he admits defeat, yeah. He does offer a rematch, I accept. Just to see, I want to see what his, I'm not going to just scoop and say, no, you lost. I just want, because it didn't feel like an entirely, it didn't feel like a lopsided duel. It didn't feel like a huge, full duel at its full peak. So I'm waiting for that opportunity to see what his deck is capable of. So that's why I am willing to let him redeem himself and see what he can actually offer me in a competitive matchup. So in this standpoint, I feel like he's capable of doing something looking at his hand. And this is the first. I don't think he created this archetype. This definitely seems like something Konami has released in the TCG yet. So this is something. It looks like he's drawn something useful. Like, as you can tell, he has a monster that he can actually pretty much have access to. He has some consistency. He has some disruptions. He has definitely tons of negates. He has a back row removal. So that in itself should be a hand that he can't really make an excuse for. So he can pretty much do something with this hand and try to like make some plays and try to figure if he can actually combo off on me. So because with this deck, my combos have not ended yet. So. And I just keep pummeling my opponent. I just feel bad for him. Like even though I don't support EDP, but I did want to make the deck viable because that's the whole point. Like even if you don't like someone, you should at least make them challenging to make things more interesting. If you make everything least challenging or less like valuable, then or just not as like interesting, then the game will blow over. Just to be real with you guys. So. But like I said, I'm about to go into my link 3 like the same thing I did last time for pseudocode, but it does require 3 effect monsters. so it's not really an easy task to do. So regardless, even if you have a link to a monster and you have one non-link monster, you still can't be able to summon super critical because it does require you 3 effect monsters. 3 monsters specifically. So I'm just gonna retrieve our Belly and Schoolboy. And I'm sure you're aware what Schoolboy does. This will go back to my hand on my next standby phase. I'm gonna go into a link 2, or no, I'm gonna go back on my word for it. I'm gonna go into Appaloosa, actually, which makes sense. Right now, this is not the best board that I had considering last time in the last duel, but this is something I have to stick with, so I have no choice right now, because I pretty much bricked at this point. That's fine. He'll play Pot of Prosperity. Let's see what he's gonna add to his hand. Mount of the Bound Creator. I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if they heavily relied on level 10s though, or he's just playing it maybe because in case he has a boss monster that has easy access to. So, like I said, I'm not familiar with this deck because it looks like it's still coming from the OCG. It just hasn't been printed in English yet. So obviously Dark Ruler, which I already expected. The good thing is I don't take any damage during his turn, so I might as well just let it go. Sure thing. All my back row is gone. That's fine. Let's just see what he has up in his sleeve. So Sweet Dreams, Nemurelia, I think that's how you pronounce them. It's weird. It is a pendulum-based archetype, but it has non-pendulums as well. Honestly, they should just stick with it being pendulum monsters. That way, the deck will have more synergy. If you put pendulums with non-pendulum monsters, the deck doesn't have as much synergy. And then because the whole point of pendulums is that you want to keep summoning back from next deck, although they do take up more space. If you can manage to link summon, you have access to them every single time. Every time you pendulum summon. But again, it's like pendulums have better synergy if they're all pendulum monsters in the main deck, because that's how they work with each other, and then you always have access to their effects, their attack points, their stats, meaning that like making them into non-pendulum monsters doesn't really help the case because they can be considered bricks, because you need pendulum monsters to have access to the pendulum scale, so you can be able to use their pendulum scales to set the scale so that you're guaranteed that you can be able to summon as many monsters as possible. That's how pendulum summoning is utilized. You want to see them as much as possible to make the most out of them. But in this case, sure, they're very powerful. But had they been pendulum monsters, I'm guessing because of their levels, that could be the reason why they would want to make them into pendulum monsters. And plus, it makes their effects less. And plus, on top of that, they're possibly less broken. Because a lot of pendulum archetypes, you rarely see a pendulum archetype that has a scale of 10 or 11. So maybe they're trying to keep it down so that it doesn't really break the format, which really won't, because they haven't been getting as much attention as you can look at. If you were to start playing Yu-Gi-Oh right now, you realize they're not even popular. So again, to make them relevant, they shouldn't be afraid to actually go up a scale from 10 to 11 or 12. Because not like when I understand you don't have easy access to level 10, level 9, level 11 monsters, because they're supposed to be extremely hard to pull off. I get it. And that their level considers just how good the monster is, not whether it may not have the most attack or defense, but it could be regarding the effect and how powerful it is, and that's why they gave it a certain level. Or are they just doing that just to be creative with the card, or just do whatever they want? So doesn't matter either way. So I feel like levels are important regardless, because depending on if you want to have access to a monster in your hand or extra deck, or you need to pull off a certain summoning condition, they still need to get more attention, because it doesn't mean they're any better than level 8 or lower monsters. They're just for some reason hard to access because they have higher levels. Although considering they just require 2 monsters to tribute, but again, they're making it seem that they should be as difficult, right? Considering right now, even though they're not really putting much of a challenge. If anything, they need to become more relevant for them to show that level 9 or higher monsters aren't as like broken as they seem to be, as they are right now. Because in the current formats, they don't have as much popularity. But again, I mentioned Summon Worm with Dream Girl's effect, and depending on the number of monsters with their turn attack and or defense on the field that I can control, I pop that many spell trap cards. Apparently, his Sleeping Beauty Tower can't be destroyed because he can negate it by banishing one Numerilia from his extract face up. So he managed to counter that, which doesn't really matter. So even though his effect's negated, I have ways of getting rid of his bound creator, whatever amount of the bound creator. So I will pay 1,300 life points to summon Schoolboy from my hand, and I also get the search on top of that. But again, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying, is that level 9 monsters shouldn't have restriction where they're not even considered top tier. So it's just the fact they have higher levels doesn't mean they're better than level 8 or lower monsters. So, and I understand, like, I'm not sure whether I understand or not, but like the fear of making pendulum scales like 9, 10 to 11 or 12 because they'll somehow break pendulum monsters. It will, because I understand that there are people, there are non-pendulum monsters that are level 8 or 9 or higher that you can basically have access to that can basically break the game state. I think that's what they fear, to be honest, in my opinion, because I'm sure there are a few that I'm not aware of that have really broken effects that don't require itself to be special summoned, that you have to tribute summon, possibly like Spell Canceller or a Jinzo or whatever. I'm talking about like continuous, like permanent effects that can like pretty much prevent the player from having access to certain cards, or pretty much playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For all I'm guessing. But I'm just letting you guys know is that's why they want to keep it stable, because there might be monsters with high levels that I'm not aware about that could prevent the opponent from doing anything, whether it's negate all monster effects. It could be any of those things. So, or it could just be you not be able to set cards, or you lose tons of life points and then you get pretty much commit to your FTK. So basically first turn kill. But again, you guys are aware of what happens. I use Eagle-Eye to search for my spell, and then I'm gonna bust out my tokens there, but I'm just gonna continue. Before I even continue summoning the tokens, I want to go into my link summon first to make myself some room. Like you see right now, I want to make some room for my main monster zones because the number of tokens I'm gonna summon right now, so I can at least commit to an even bigger, stronger board, as you see right now. And I'll use Rushraw's effect, shuffling all the cards in her grave. Not all, shuffling 5 cards from her grave to the deck. That also includes my opponent too, which will give me space to use some of the tokens. Thanks to Chase for the Girl with the 13th Cupcake. I did make sure to limit this card because I do believe if you have access to 3, it's like, or access to 2 or 3, it's like you can pretty much, because it can place them on any field, so it can stop your opponent from playing, basically. So in a way, it has to be limited so that you don't get to abuse the full extent of this card, and that your opponent can have something to use, even though even though you're probably gonna only resolve it once, but so you don't constantly do it to the point where it's just like you have full advantage of your opponent and they can't do anything. So you want to at least let them play as well. So you see what's gonna happen. If my opponent had monsters in the grave, then he will summon multiple monsters, or he could be able to summon way more monsters if he had 3 to 5. But as you see here, since he doesn't take advantage of the grave, I'm able to make the most out of Sudoku Talker. So let us continue. I'm going to retrieve the token, my mistake. And this should be game. And again, I hope you guys enjoy the duel. I will be continuing with this kind of content, but it will take me some time because I am going back and forth with the other videos that I'm making and trying to be consistent daily. And although it's not going to always happen that I'm not going to always post videos every day for you guys, because there are times where I need to take a break and I do have to live my life as well. So I don't have to stress myself even further. But again, I don't regret any of the things that I've done in the past, all the content I'm posting, and I'm sure you guys are well indeed fascinated, and I'm fascinated with I'm the one that's mostly fascinated with my work because of how much I accomplish on my own, and it's something I should be proud of. And again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.